I can still remember I promised to send a template of a business case report. I'm still trying to look for one that is flexible for everybody to adopt. So I would like one or two people to just give us their thoughts about our last discussion. Take home, what you pick from the lesson, maybe something you pick up later based on the lesson and stuff like that, so that we can learn from one another. Anybody?
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yes, I can hear. Good evening.
All right. Thank you for the last class. From the last class, I got to know that just like we say that as a facility manager, you are an all-rounder. And as a facility manager, you have to, at times, work as a business analyst, knowing how to justify and make a business case in such a way that you're going to have a buy-in from the appropriate quarters. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution. Anybody else? Okay, so I'm just going to assume we all understood what we discussed the last time. So today we'll be going through an interesting topic, something that all of us are kind of used to, but still don't understand how it actually plays in our role as facility managers or facility personnel in our various workplace. This is to deal with human resources management. Basically, I think I've heard about, I've had a lot of facility managers discuss like, what's my business with human resources management. I think they are professionals that have been employed by the organization to handle this. So what's my own business? It doesn't look like it's not AC, and neither does it have anything to do with the plumbing or power or generator. So what's my business with HR per se? And probably some of us have even had some in our career, we have had some terrible experiences with so-called HR professionals, and like, oh, I hate HR people. I don't want to have anything to do with HR and stuff like that. So this evening we are going to go through the whole HR overview. We are going to have an overview of what HR is and how it affects us as facility managers, and where we come in when it comes to human resources management. So I want to confirm, can everybody see my screen? If you can see my screen, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. So basically, what does HR actually means? Basically, for most of all, we actually see HR as we see HR as those individuals in an organization that deal with administrative duties, which involve airing of staff, compile salaries, involving appraisers, those individuals that send us a lot of query letters and the likes, and eventually they are involved with firing and the likes. But basically, in this discussion, we are going to look at two definitions of HR. The first one is to look at an official HR from a standpoint of an organizational function designed to maximize employee performance towards an employer's strategic objective. In my view, I'm looking at this from the angle that, oh, HR is going to use people, right, to perform some function to align with an employer's strategic objective. So in that context, what we are trying to say is that we are looking at people as a tool. I use a scissors to cut a piece of paper for my strategic objective. A scissors is a tool, right? You use your screwdrivers to disassemble components. Your screwdriver is a tool. So viewing an HR from that perspective make us feel like a used tool in the hands of a given employer. So giving that definition does not really does justice to what HR is with respect to what we do in facility management. So in my view, we can go further to look at HR as a management approach that focuses on people within the overall purpose of a mutual achieving the strategic purpose for which an organization exists. Here we are looking at HR as that cohesive force that brings different people together to be able to work together to achieve a common goal, right? In this place, we are focusing more on collaboration of people. And if you look at what the basic understanding of facility management is, management of resources. So resources can either be finance, it can either be labor, it can be material. So basically in facility management, we are tasked to manage both human resources and material resources, also cost and the like. So in this view, we can see a kind of an overlapping between the whole concept of human resources management and facility management. So going further, you ask what does HR actually entails in the concept of facility management? So basically, if you look at HR now, so basically why are we discussing HR in facility management? Two reasons why we are discussing HR in facility management. As a facility professional, you are either in two categories. It's either you are doing 9 to 5 for an organization as a facility professional, helping an organization, or two, you are running a facility management business. And in either case, you'll be actually be involved in hiring different type of professional into the organization. If I'm a facility manager in an organization, directly or indirectly, I am tasked with managing my team, which are actually involve technicians, cleaners, gardeners, supervisors, and the likes and the like. So, if probably I'm actually running a facility management business, I also will be tasked to bring in several professionals to aid the organizational business. So basically, when it comes to the application of HR knowledge to facility management, one of the core aspects of it is employing the right people for your job. And that's where we come to the hiring process in facility management. So basically, in trying to get the right people for the right job in facility management, it has to come fundamentally down to what we need to do as a facility professional in an organization. One of the main things in facility management is, as a facility manager, you have to understand your processes. You have to understand, understanding your processes will let you understand what you need, the resources you need to ensure the processes run in an organization, right? And like I said, facility management is all about managing resources. We have the human resources and we have the material resources. So the material resources can either be a tangible object or can be in form of financial resources. So coming down to that, if I know in my organization that I have a chiller system, for example, based on that particular kind of equipment, I will know that I need a chiller expert to be part of my team. And understanding that I need a chiller expert invariably means that I need to employ a chiller operator. Now, one of the mistakes we make in facility management when it comes to employing or hiring a team member into our team is that most of the time we usually trust the entire process in the hand of the HR personnel in that organization. But we fail to understand that we, the professional, we are the only person that could understand what we are trying to achieve. The fact that we might actually be part of the process directly or indirectly, or we might not be part of the process at all. But notwithstanding, it is our duty as professionals to actually state out categorically what the criteria we are trying to employ against. So, for example, if I'm trying to employ a chiller operator now to manage a particular chiller size, I should be able to pen it down, what I am looking for in a given chiller operator. What kind of experience am I looking for? What kind of training? What kind of training exposure am I looking for? Do I have a age restrictions and the likes and the like? So, given the fact that I have a deep knowledge of what needs to be done to maintain the chiller, I'll be in the right position to actually pen down what we call a job description. Don't make the mistake of allowing HR to describe or to write out a job description for your team members. One of the experiences I had in the past is when most HR professional wants to employ against a particular role, basically for facility managers, they are fond of going to the internet, just search through Google's, what is the job description of a facility manager? Then they just download the entire thing, put it there, then publish it. So, but the mistake is every organization is unique and their needs and the expectation are diverse. And because of that, you can't just pick a generic job description on the internet and use it for your hiring process. One of the outcomes of such a process will be disastrous. You won't get the right fit for that job. So as a facility manager, start with hiring people or hiring professional into your team. It is your job to actually pen down what needs to be required by the person you are bringing on board. So basically, there's something we call JD, job description. I've had several interactions with HR, so to say, and sometimes some of them actually reach out to me on LinkedIn, and you hear, oh, we have this client, they are recruiting, they are looking for an experienced facility manager to manage their XYZ and blah, 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 blah. The question I do ask most of them is, can I see the JD? Can I see the job description? Because the job description will let me understand what exactly the client is looking for and if I actually fit into their big picture. So essentially, it is very important before you go into the whole process of trying to help people or interview people for a particular job, you should be able to have your job description written down in black and white. So what does your job description actually entails? Basically, your job description should entail the required skill sets. So if I'm going to employ a facility manager, if I'm planning to employ a facility manager, for example, I should be able to itemize those skill sets I'm expecting a typical facility manager to have. Then I should have a summary of experience. So I need a facility manager with 3 to 5 years working experience. Oh, I need 10 years plus. I need 1 to 3 years experience. I should be able to state categorically the experience level I am actually looking at. Also, the educational level should be spelled out. Oh, I only need people with OND. I need people with HND. Oh, I need people with BSc or maybe master's. Should be actually stated. Then the job role should be breaking down point by point. When we say job role, once you employ the person, what will the person be doing in your organization? Right? It's not just enough for me to say, okay, I'm expecting this person, job description, I want this person to manage my chiller. If the person is going to manage your chiller, what exactly are they going to be doing on a daily basis? You should be able to pen them down point by point. You have to check in the chiller every 1 hour. You have to be doing cleaning every monthly, and that should be penned down, right? Then finally, you should also be able to add other duties as part of your job description. Reason being that it's not possible for you to, no matter how detailed you are in your job description, planning and development, it's not possible for you to capture the breadth and length of everything that needs to be done. And it's always good to have these other duties as a way to capture future development in that role. So it is very important to have your job description well documented before even going out for a job advert. So basically, here we're talking about the role of facility manager in relation to human resources management. And basically, we said facility manager actually have there are two ways where facility manager are useful in a given organization. Two aspects of it. As a facility manager, you have your in-house team, your plumber, your carpenter, your electrician, your cleaners, your gardeners. You have your vendors, which your AC vendors and the like, your contractors. Those people make up your facility management organization, and which you are in charge. So basically, your role is to manage that as a facility manager. And secondly, you have a supporting role to the entire organization. Like most of us know, facility management is a supporting function in every organization. Our role is to support the core, business of an organization. If I'm a facility manager, for example, in a bank, my role is not a core function in the bank. My role is a supporting function in the bank. My task as a facility manager in the bank is to ensure that the bankers can focus their time in handling the core business, the banking and the like, by creating a conducive environment for them to work without needing to be bothered about Baba Bolu is a carpenter who came 3 weeks ago to fix some of their shelves and the likes. They are not concerned with Baba Kazim, who is the AC contractor who fixes AC. So basically, as a facility manager, you manage those two ends of your organization. So coming down to supporting function for your entire organization, as a facility manager, you manage and oversee the work environment, right? The main function of that is you want to ensure that your work environment is conducive and is able to support the various activities going on within that organization. Also, you want to create a conducive environment for innovation. In that regard, what we're trying to say is that you ensure that environment encourage people to be innovative, to be creative in their day-to-day activities, right? You have an environment where people can be imaginative, people can come with creative ideas to solve their various activities. In addition, you want to provide a safe and healthful environment, right? You want to create an environment where people feel safe. But I'm not safe in this particular environment, I will not be here teaching. Probably I'll be teaching, I'll be looking at my back, be curious, I'll be looking here and there. Am I safe? Are people coming to hurt me? So basically, one of your tasks is to create that sense of safety in a working environment. You're supposed to provide security. People should feel secure in their working environment. As a facility manager, you should be able to integrate technology. The use of technology into your workspace is to create a kind of, is to improve your entire facility management process. It's easier for people to raise complaints, and it's easier for people to get their opinion heard and the likes. And also, finally, as a facility manager, as one of your support to the organization is to implement what we call a green initiative to reduce our overall carbon footprint, right? Come up with creative ways. You can reduce electricity consumption. You can reduce water consumption by coming up with creative initiatives and the like. Down to facility manager leading the facility organization Like I explained earlier, this actually involves managing your technicians, your cleaners, your gardeners, your contractor, and the like. Basically, as a facility manager, you are actually tasked with providing growth and development opportunity for your team, right? It's not just it will be sad for me to have a cleaner that works under me for 10 years without leaving the cleaner job. It doesn't make any sense, right? I have a good cleaner, and I can't create an opportunity for the cleaners to move from a normal cleaner to maybe cleaning supervisors, from there maybe facility officer, the like. So basically your tasks, you are not just managing the job, you are actually managing the career of your team. People should be able to move from one level to another within the space of 3 years while working with you. So as a facility manager, I should come up with creative ways to ensure that opportunities are created for people who aspire to get such opportunity. Also, as a facility manager, you should encourage diversity in your team, right? I don't want to have tacos in my team. Oh, we are Igbos, we don't deal with the Yoruba Oduduwa, or we are the Fulanis, we don't do with the Igbo. The Igbos are thieves and the lie, or the Yorubas are liars and blah blah. You should ensure that you don't have this kind of silos in your team where people form cliques, right? Because having that kind of situation within your team is going to create hostility, and it's not going to promote collaboration and within your team. So as a facility manager, you should ensure that there is diversity. Men and women can work together irrespective of their tribe, their race, irrespective of their level of education, irrespective of their level of experiences, right? A junior technician can work with a senior technician. They can collaborate to solve problems, right? Somebody with BSc or PhD should be able to work comfortably with a BSc without, I'm your guy, you should call me doctor and the like. So you should be able to create that diversity within your team. You should encourage that. People should be able to work together for a common cause, right? So you should be able to lead the organization in that direction. Then one of the very important things for you as a facility manager is to create what we call appraisal system, right? Like I said, our role as a facility manager is to be able to support the entire organization. And to be able to do that, we should be able to align our day-to-day activity to overall organizational objective. And for us to do that, we should have a system of tracking that. And the appraisal system is an excellent tool for us to be able to track what we promise to do and how far we have gone in delivering what we have promised to do. So basically, the appraisal system is to evaluate each of your team members, both your internal staff and your contractor. We have KPIs for the contractor, the SLAs, and the KPIs for the contractor. So the appraisal system is to actually evaluate your teams, right? Understand their strength, understand their weakness, come up with creative ways to address some of them. Hello? So it's a way to come up with creative initiative to address any concerns as you go along. So moving forward, so how do we practice an effective hiring system or hiring process? How do I ensure that my interview process, my hiring process is effective? So basically, one of the points to note is to locate a credible job pool resources for hiring employees. So basically, what you're trying to say is I should be able to know where I should look for. So if I'm looking for a technician, for example, I should be able to know where can I go to, right? Where I can have a pool of technicians I can pick up from. In Max-Migold, in order to create this kind of pool, we actually launched a Telegram group where we have people of like minds that are talking about facility management in a single place. And a lot of hiring organizations have actually used these resources in recruiting a lot of their employees. So it is very interesting to locate a very credible source for your hiring employee, where you can go to. Some people use Jobberman to post their job vacancy. Some uses LinkedIn. I've seen a lot of job vacancies on LinkedIn and the likes. We have Association of Facility Management Professionals in Nigeria. This is a Telegram group where we have a lot of facility professionals in that group. It's also a fantastic place for you to get experienced professionals with respect to facility management. And second point you want to focus on is interview a small number of people for a potential job, right? It's not always very good and economical when I want to actually employ one person and I'm interviewing 1,000 people. It doesn't make sense. Economically speaking, it doesn't make sense. That will waste a lot of time, right? You should be able to design your your employment process in such a way that if I want to employ one person, I should be able to have a short list of maybe 5 or 10 people to interview for me to be able to pick out one person that I feel fits perfectly into what I am looking for. Then thirdly, we have to look into the job interview process itself. How do you ensure that you have a smooth interview process? So you have to look at, I have always observed that a lot of hiring managers don't prepare before an interview. Most of them will just come to an interview with empty heads. And they'll be asking you basic questions they also probably pick up from your CV. Some don't even have your CV. On the day of the interview, they will still be asking you to, yeah, where's your CV? Let me look at it in your presence, spending valuable time. So it is always very important as an interviewer to prepare before time, prepare your questions, ensure your questions are well thought out with respect to what you are looking for. Make sure, make the interviewee feel comfortable from the start, right? You want to make, like some of the HR professionals have encountered recently, try to move their interview process, try to make it like a chat where you can have a one-on-one discussion around several topics relating to the job function, right? You don't want your interview to look like an interrogation, right? You want to make the people feel comfortable, pick a very good location, make the atmosphere looks very relaxing, so that you can ask questions and the interviewee will be able to give good response to some of your questions. Then interestingly too, while asking questions, you have to ensure your questions are open-ended. So it's kind of give the interview an opportunity to be more creative in their answers. Then you should note that a standard interview should not be more than 1.5 hours. Anything longer than that is just a pure waste of time. You should ensure you should be time conscious when conducting an interview. Also, you should try to focus your questions on past job performance. Try to ask questions related to the potential employees' past job or current job. What are they doing and the likes? And this will help you to paint a perfect picture of their work ethics and the likes and the likes. And also, it is always very advisable to have more than one interviewer. Probably you can have a male and a female interviewer. This will enable the interviewee to feel comfortable. If I'm a lady, for example, and I've been interviewed by a male, right, in the closed room, I probably will not feel comfortable. Not because I feel the other person is going to do anything, but I just don't feel comfortable, right? And if I'm a male too, being interviewed by a lady too, I won't feel that 100% comfortable in that atmosphere. But if I can have a pair of a man and a woman, right, in managing an interview process, if I'm a man or a lady, I feel much more comfortable in that kind of scenario. So while planning your interviewing process, you should pay attention to trying to create a kind of a comfortable atmosphere for the potential employee for that process. So moving forward, identify job requirement. Like we said initially when we are talking about job description, right? I said it is very important for you to understand what you needed the potential employee to come and do, or what the potential employee is going to do once employed. So those are what we call job requirement. What am I required to do? What is the expectation of the organization? If I'm a carpenter to an organization, what is the expectation of the employer in respect to my role as a carpenter in that organization? Those are what we call job requirements. So it is very important to provide opportunity to align applicant or employee's ability with organization needs. So so basically what we are trying to say is when planning for recruitment, it is always very important to link a potential applicant's ability to an organizational needs. Because basically, if I can't link what you are going to do for me to what the organization is looking for, there's a disjoint. Basically, there's a disjoint. That means I'll be doing a lot of things and it will add zero value to the organization. So why coming up with your job description or your job requirement? You should be able to align the proposed employee's ability to your organization need. Also, accurate job description help recruit qualified candidates. Like I said initially, it is very important for you to come up with a job description, and because the job description will let you understand, will let you source for the right candidate. Like I said in my example, that anytime I am being approached by a prospective employer or an HR, one of the questions I usually ask them, let me see your job description, because your job description will let me understand if I fit into what you are looking for or not. So it's always very important for you to have an accurate job description to help recruit qualified candidates or applicants. Set expectation for managing employees' performance, which is very essential to what we're talking about, appraisal management, right? You should be able to know, I'm employing a carpenter. What do I need from a carpenter? I should not be employing a carpenter and expecting the carpenter to manage a plumbing situation, except probably I'm employing a multi-skilled technician, right? And I shouldn't be employing a multi-skilled technician, which I'm expecting to handle various aspects of my facility. Then it comes and I'm actually restricting that kind of person. So understanding the expectation for managing employees' performance is very essential. Guide employee development activity. It's not just enough for you to have staff working under you, right? And for you to be achieving your goal as a facility manager. It is always very important for people under you to grow. It's very, very key. So you should be able to guide your employees' development, right? If I have a carpenter, I should be able to see if it's possible for me to expand the carpenter role to maybe, you should be able to pick up some painting, some tiling job on the long run. If I have an electrician, can he pick up an AC job on the long run? Can I expand their job scope and the likes and the like? Also, it is also very important, help protect employers against discrimination claim, right? Here we're talking about, right, in the job market today, there are laws governing against discrimination. If people have a genuine reason to claim they are being discriminated in their workplace, they can actually take the employer to court, and they can actually win against it. So as a facility manager managing different things, you should actually protect your employer against any form of discrimination, right? So to ensure that every process are fair, right, and well documented. So moving forward. So still on the hiring practice, effective hiring practice, job interview process. Ask during the interview process, you should ask the interviewee if they have any question. It's very important. It's not just good enough for you to ask all the questions for 1.5 hours and the other person is just looking like Lukumon. So it is very important to give space, to allocate time for them to also ask you questions. It's a two-way street. You want to check if I'm a good fit for your organization. Also, as an interviewee, I want to check if your organization is a good fit for me. So giving me an opportunity to ask questions during the interview process will let me actually voice some of my concern and give the interviewer an opportunity to actually address and further probably sell the role to me. Because basically, interview process is all about selling and buying, right? I am selling the organization vision, mission, expectation to you as a prospective employee, and at the same time, I want you to buy into the vision. So it's more like a marketing stuff. So we should be able to ask questions. I should also give time for the applicant to also ask questions. Right after the interview, jot down all recollection and thoughts. It is very important during the interview process for you to have some pen and paper for you to jot down some of your thoughts and the like during the interview process, because those kind of jotting will let you to have a clearer picture of your candidates, and it will actually be helpful when you are making decisions after the interview. Right? For interview process that involve more than one people or one person, it is always very important to compare notes after the interview, right? Because basically, two people cannot view a single candidate in the same light, right? We might be actually viewing the candidate from different perspectives. So comparing notes will let us have a balanced view of the employee, of the prospective employee. It's always very important to have a follow-up after the interview. It is always okay. Advise the interviewee as to the result of the job search. It is always very important to do reference check. It's very important, right? It's very important for you to do a background check on your prospective employee. F for succession planning. So, yeah, basically what we are saying that the fact that I have on my team doesn't mean I should not plan for succession, because basically, if I'm actually planning developmental activities for my team, which means the lowest person in my team will one day grow up and move to an higher role. Do I have a plan in place to replace that person? Anything can happen. People can foresee. People can die in the process. People can move to other organizations. Do I have a process in place to ensure that I can quickly and easily replace any persons that leave the team? So it is very important to have a succession plan. Employees that have a potential to replace you on the long run. This is quite very interesting. A lot of managers are quite scared to be replaced. A lot of people don't want, and I find it very funny. Basically, as an engineer, one of the challenges we face in the workplace is senior engineers don't want junior engineer to grow because they are scared that junior engineer will actually replace them on the long run. So basically, one of the tactics they use is to hide vital information from you. They want to do engineering design in silos and the like. So I find it funny that a lot of facility managers are also imbibing some of these acts. You know, they are doing a lot of strategic planning, but you are doing it in secret. You don't want your facility supervisor to understand what you are doing. Sorry. Yeah. So you don't want your facility supervisor to understand what you are doing because, you are feeling, if he knows now, the company will probably sack me and promote him to facility manager and send me out of the company. I think I had a few discussions with senior colleagues, and they were like, oh, you have to be very careful. Once organization know that people under you can do, they feel that you are expensive, they will chase you out, ask more salary to the person under you, then you're out of the system. But the truth is, we should create a succession plan, right? I should be able to employ people that have potential to do what I am doing now. Reason being that if people can do what I am doing now, I can move to other tasks. As a facility manager, most facility managers are being bogged down by operational activities. And because of that, we don't have time for strategic things, right? We don't have time for strategic planning and the likes and the like, because we are so busy on a day-to-day basis. In my former organization, is an industrial plant. On an average, I walk around the entire property more than 10 or 15 times in a day, attending to one problem or the other. And before I know it is 5 o'clock already. So if I have, so for me to actually pull myself from that kind of activity, I have to start developing my facility officer to replace me on the long run. Not because of anything, but because if he can replace me, he can start doing all the working, then I can focus on more strategic things to do in the organization. And because interestingly, as a facility manager, you can't achieve anything, right, in your career if you stay in operation. You need to move, right? You need to chill with the big boys, and chilling with the big boys actually entails you taking up strategic activities, right? You have to enhance your perspective. You should be able to discuss budget. You should be able to talk about finance, right? You should be able to have those financial discussions with your CFOs. You should be able to have these. You should be able to have. You should be able to plan 10 years expansion plan with maybe your internal project manager and the like. But you can't have those time if you are being bogged down by operational activity. So it is very important for you to employ a potential employee that can replace you on the long run, that can do things that you are doing now, so that it can free more space for you to do things at a higher level. So it's also very important for you not to rush your hiring process, because and that's the reason why you plan ahead. You don't wait until you need somebody to replace somebody tomorrow. So because of that, you want to plan your entire interview processes today, employ somebody today, give the person offer letter today. It doesn't work like that. You are going to employ rubbish, right? And it is very important to take your time when you are actually planning your recruitment process. So moving forward, so I'm going to pause here. Do anybody have any question about what we have discussed so far? If you have questions, you can drop a chat. You can use the chat option or features to drop questions if you have questions on what we have discussed so far. So before we move forward, any question before we continue? Okay, so if you have any question as you go along, don't hesitate to drop your question on the chat. As I see them, I will answer them as you go along. So caring for your employee. I have observed a lot of facility managers are just like, they are like Thatcher, you know, everything is iron fists, right? Everything is always fights, you know. You have to kick, give blow to align people to do your work. But the point is, when people feel you care about them, they will go an extra mile for you as a manager, right? Interestingly, facility management runs on a 24 hours basis, but fortunately enough, you only have 8 hours to work on a daily basis, which means when you are out of your facility, some of your facility are still running, and people are still there running them, right? So it is very important that as a manager, you show some level of care, of concern towards your employee, because it's a kind of a catalyst, it's a kind of a motivation, right? Employee motivation. Most people do not go to work to do a bad job. Nobody comes to job to come and do a bad job, right? I won't come to Max-Migold, for example, for me to just lazy around for the entire day. Nobody planned that, right? We all wake up in the morning, leave our house as early as possible, enter Lagos traffic, hustling our way to work, not because, oh, we want to just go there and become a bad boy. No, we all come to work because we want to come and give our best, right? Most people go to work to pay bills, find meaning in their life. Exactly. No, you have bills to pay, we have responsibility at home. So the reason why you come to work is to earn a living. And nobody goes to work to earn a living and go there to do a bad job, right? Some come to work because they find purpose in what they are doing. And if I find purpose in what I'm doing, I won't go there intentionally to come and do bad things. So it is very essential, even when people do bad things, right? It is very essential to show some level of concern, try to understand things from their perspective. So for your FM job, it is to support your people, strengthen their competence and help them to find meaning in their work. So as a facility manager, it is very important for you to support your team, right? Give them a sense of purpose, right? Give them a strategic direction to go to, right? If I have a facility manager I'm working under, and every time I come to work, I don't even know what I'm doing, right? I don't have a direction. We just come to work, we lazy around, then we'll go. On the long run, if I'm a very serious person, on the long run, I'll have to probably quit that job because I can't find an expression through the job, right? I can't find a sense of purpose through the job. So it is very important as a facility manager to give a sense of purpose to your team, strengthen their competencies. If they are lacking in one area or the other, your job as a facility manager is to help them succeed, right? Is to help them succeed and help them find purpose so that they can find fulfillment in what they are doing. Tips to employer: show genuine concern. Like I said, when people know that you care about them, they will go extra mile for you. It's very key. A lot of people always feel, oh, let me show them soldier, you know. Once you come, I remember I worked in an estate, and there's this particular director that anytime he's around, people are running eta-sketa. Oh, he's coming, oh, soldier is coming, people are running eta-sketa. And because of that, people pretend to do what they are not doing, just to form busy while he's around. And to me, I'm like, this is nonsense. It doesn't make sense, right? You can't work in a place where I am afraid of my boss. When people are afraid of you, the point is that people will do what they call eye service, right? They only work when you are around. They don't work when you are not around. And because of that, productivity will be lacking, quality will be lacking, your overall deliverable will be lacking. So it is very important for us as an employee or as a representative of an employee, as a facility manager, you're actually representing your principal, who is the manager, the employer, to your team. So in their position, you should show a genuine concern to your team. Let them know you care, right? There's a particular incident that happened where I was working before. I have this very hardworking gardener, which I usually rely on to tackle anything gardening. I don't worry about him. Anytime I come in the morning, I know he's always working, and he can manage a team of 4 for me. So most of the time, I don't really bother about his work. I focus on another job. But there was a particular day that I noticed he wasn't working, right? So instead of me going to him and attack him and say, why are you not working? Why are you wasting time? The question I asked him was, what's the problem? What's your concern? So apparently, because you have not been paid, right? And he had a twin, and both of them were in the hospital. And because of that, he's concerned, right? So he doesn't have that motivation to work, right? And I said, okay, what can I do for you? He said he just needs 10,000 naira, right, to pay for some hospital bills. Even myself, I'm looking for money, and it is not always advisable to those monies to your technician, because When you start what you cannot keep up with, you have problem on the long run, right? But it's a bit tricky situation for me, right? If I don't solve his immediate problem, he's not going to solve my own immediate problem by working. So what do I do? So I said, okay, what if I borrowed you the money and at the end of the month, you pay me back? Oh, he said, yeah, that would be fantastic. I said, okay, fine, write me a letter requesting for loan. He did that. After receiving the letter, I provided 10,000 naira from, immediately send it home, and immediately his countenance changed. He was so happy and he was able to work. At the end of the day, he was able to achieve his own aim by paying for his children's hospital bill, and I was able to get him to work. At the end of the day, it was 50-50. Everybody wins. So it is very important that people know that you care. Take your time with your employee. Have time with them, right? It's not just good for you to I have 30 staff that are working for me that they hardly see you, right? It's when you spend time with them, you tend to understand their concern, you tend to understand where they're having problems, that you can provide your superior knowledge or your own, you can share your experience with them. And also it is very key when you spend time with them, you also learn as a facility manager. Like we said, facility management actually appears as a jack of all trades, right? It looks as if as a facility manager, you have to know everything. That's the expectation from you, from your employer. But the truth is nobody can know everything, right? I study as a mechanical engineer. My training is a mechanical engineer, which even as a mechanical engineer, I still have some level of specialization. But my employer will expect me to be able to have some knowledge about electrical, plumbing, AC, carpentry, painting, civil works, and the like and the like. But how do I develop competencies in all these areas of specialization? By having time with my employees. By spending time with the civil guys, I will understand how to lay blocks, how to do plastering, how to do some small calculation around that. By interacting with the carpenter, I will know how to repair some bad door locks and the like. By interacting with the electrician, I will know a bit of distribution board, how to replace some sockets and the likes. So when you spend time with them, it helps to show some level of concern. You also pick some little information from them. You can share your experience. You can learn from them. So also get to know their names and interests. One of the very interesting skills I picked up in my last employment, I call it a bit of a kind of a behavior I picked up in my last employment. Anytime I enter into the premises, every of my staff I see, I call them by name and greet them. Right? It is very important to people when people know that you know their name. Right? I saw my carpenter, instead of saying just good morning, I say, Peter, good morning, how was your night? Right? The fact that I call their name, most of the time I notice that when I call their name, there's this smile in their face. They are always happy that you call their name. Right? So it is very important that if you have 100 people as your team, know them by name. It is very important. Try to learn there. It's not very easy because for me, I find it very hard to memorize people's name. But I discovered that the more I practice, I get to know their name. As at the last time, I had about 40 staff, and I know all of them by name. If I see them, I know their name, I can call their name. It's something I picked up, it's something I developed, and I discovered that when I call people by their name, they are ready to listen to me, right? Even when I give them tags that is outside their day-to-day tag, they are ready to go. They are ready to do it because, Oga knows my name. Lastly, express praise. Thank for a job well done. No, when you have people that do tasks for you, it is not just enough that maybe it's their work. Are they not being paid? It doesn't take you it takes nothing from you to say thank you. You guys did a good job. I like that. You do a good job. Yeah, chop knuckle. It takes nothing from you. People like to be appreciated. So, and it's very important. It's one of those motivation factors as a facility manager in which you used to encourage your staff, in managing them, right? I remember in my last employment, that sometimes people work for me and I say, you guys have done, come. let all of us go and drink Coke. They doesn't take anything from me. Buy 100 naira Coke for them. Thank you. Next time when I call them, they will be happy to come. I can remember in December, we were expecting the organization to actually give exactly, especially when you refer to somebody as Mr. Yes, it's very important. No, you can call them Mr. You can call them Baba something, Chief. No, use all those kind of language to actually encourage them. As a facility manager, you discover that you actually manage variety of people that are older than you, people that are lower than you, people that are the same age mate. Try as much as possible to exhort them. People like, especially in this part of the world, people like to be respected, and it goes a long way in making your work, making your life easier. When you have a loyal group of people that are loyal to you, people that you can call from one and say, I need ABC done, and they will go to any extra length to ensure that that is done. Right? You have a group where you can sleep at home and you are so much confident that no matter what happens, they are there to make your life easier. Going forward, in continuation to the tips to employer, be attentive to their needs and requests. Pay attention to what your employees are saying. It's not just enough to say, maybe I'm paying your salary. Like I was saying in my last discussion, I'll come back to these comments real soon. So as I was saying in my last discussion, in my last organization, there's this usual practice of giving rice, groundnut oil as a kind of Christmas bonus to staff. But sadly, last year, I don't know what happened. Nothing happened. Employees were grumbling. All of my team members were grumbling. And the funny thing is, work was piling up. There was a lot to do before the end of the year. People were expecting rice. They are not getting rice, right? And they were grumbling and the likes. So funny enough, there's this particular vendor that I helped with one or two things. And based on compensation, he wanted to give me rice for the end of the year. And I said, I don't need the rice. But I discovered that my staff actually need rice. So what I did for them, I asked all of them to go and carry the rice and share the rice as part of their Christmas bonus. Reason why I could do that is because I was paying attention to their needs and their requests. A lot of them are complaining they don't have money to buy rice for December and blah, blah, blah. That rice goes a long way, even though the rice means nothing to me because I have enough rice at home, but they don't have. And because there was a kind of interaction, I can see their pressure points, right? And because of that, I can respond to that based on what I have. And that goes a long way. I can particularly remember that particular day, I have about 3 or 4 jobs that was lined up for them to do. And based on that, a lot of them were ready to go extra mile. In fact, I was not even supervising them. And they were able to just go along and ensure everything was done. Always follow up with them. Always follow up with them with respect to their request. Supply them with tools and require equipment to help them succeed. It's not just enough for you to have a carpenter. You have to give the carpenter the tool, because like the Yoruba people will say, carpenter will not use teeth to remove nail. So you are supposed to equip your staff with the right tool. Then there should be this ongoing feedback from them, right? You should always listen to them, get feedback, know what they are going through, try to understand. Allocate time and money for training. It's very important. Training is very key. A lot of organizations don't train their staff, and it's very bad. There's no way you are going to improve productivity if you don't train. So let's stop here. Successful facility operation as employees who have connected to the mission of the company and see a bigger vision. Facility management leaders should empower the employee through self-understanding. It's not just enough for you to have mission and vision of your organization, whereas your staff doesn't even understand 10% of what your organization is saying. So when you go through the slide, so you're still trying to emphasize the importance of caring for your employees and why it's very important to care and to listen to your employee. Yeah, we're talking, like I said in my previous slide, I'm talking about applying for succession. Like I said, it's very important as you're applying for the developmental activity for your staff. It is always very important to have a view, to have a plan to replace any of your staff on an ongoing basis. So it is very, so if you go through the slide, it will explain some of the important things you need to do to ensure that you have a succession plan with respect to your team, right? So what are the obstacles to face, right? What are the obstacles when you are hearing, when you are planning, when you are doing interview, when you want to fill a role as a facility manager? Not developing a long-term perspective can be an obstacle, right? It is always very important to have a longer view of your entire process so that you can make a long-term plan instead of just planning short-term, 1 year. Then after 1 year, you plan again. That's a waste of money. Like me here, Erin, that is to say, you are employing people because you like them. Yeah, because I like the fine face. So because of that, I want to employ you. Not because the person have the required skills that is you are expecting. Not because the person meets your criteria. I just like him. It's from my village. So let's just employ the person. Preconception and prejudice, right? When you have a wrong conception about an organization or an employee, it actually stand as an obstacle to your employment process. Low tolerance for risks, lack of patience to teach employees, no belief in employees' development. So some of these are, all of these are obstacles when it's come to the employment process. So it is very important to pay attention to some of these factors when you are trying to employ. Like I said, I think we have said a lot about motivation, what motivates employees and the like. So this particular slide is just kind of a summary to what we have said in the previous slide. Doing right thing right. So which is just this is also a more like an expansion of what we have discussed further, right? Annual performance review tips, catch your people doing something right, only better than vinegar. So it is important. It is important to have a performance review, right, on an annual basis to review our accomplishments, to recognize people's effort and the likes and the likes. So these are just part of things that actually improve working together, motivate staff and the likes. This is still part of continuation. So no matter how much you praise people for doing the right thing, there also should be a disciplinary method for you to reprimand people when they do something wrong, right? You should have, as you have, there's what you call a reward system. Also, you should have a kind of a punishment system to punish bad behavior within your team. So it's just a continuation of what we have in the previous slide. Case for employee development. Like I said, it is very important for you to have a developmental activities for your employee. It is very key, and it's part of your succession plan. So facility management department strength must align with the strategic goal. Like I said in my previous slide, is as a facility management professional or as a facility manager, you should ensure that the overall strength of your department must align with what your organization is looking for. Expectation of the organization must be aligned with what you are doing. Because if what you are doing is A and your organization expects Z from you, there's a disalignment, there will be a problem. Facility team must be analyzed and managed like an investment portfolio. Exactly. In an investment portfolio, you might have different assets in your portfolio. I'm managing a dollar, I'm managing pound, I'm managing real estate. You have different investment in your portfolio, right? And each of them has several purpose in that portfolio. So same way in the facility management team, it is very important that you should look at your team. An individual should have a unique skill that goes back to the entire strategic goal of the organization. Avoid exceeding acceptable employee turnover rate. Must be prepared for it. So basically, irrespective of how good your organization is, you should always know that people will always move. So as a facility manager, you should always avoid exceeding a particular turnover rate, and you should be able to manage that. Facility management must have a pipeline of employees to step in to fill gaps with minimal disruption, which was actually, this is actually emphasizing on the need for succession plan. Right? If you have a very good succession plan, you should be able to fill up any role at the shortest time possible. Like we said, with respect to employee development need, it is very important for your team to always move, right? If I have a cleaner that started up in my organization, I should be able to plan in such a way that the cleaner can move within the organization and occupy a higher role in the organization on the long run. So this is actually kind of giving you an illustrative way of how you can guide a professional development within your team. We have said a lot about job description, the need for job description and the like. So this is kind of emphasizing on that. Job-related competencies. So basically, when you are planning your job description, right, you should have what they call job-related competency. Really, what we are trying to say is that when I'm trying to employ to fill a role, there must be competencies or skills I am looking at in that prospective employee that must match the job they are coming to perform. I should not be employing a carpenter to come and do a job with a plumber. It doesn't go, that's a mismatch. So basically what we are trying to say is a prospective employee should have a job-related competencies, skills that will be useful on the job. Job-related characteristics. So basically here, what we are talking about, people have skills, and apart from skills, people have behavioral attributes, right? Their way of life, the way they react to things, their emotional intelligence, their openness to change. So apart from, although it's very, very hard to actually measure during a job interview, but those are some of the traits, we call them traits that we are looking for. If I'm actually trying to employ somebody that will actually manage money, for example, the person should be fair, should be honest, and have some ethical behavior, right? When I'm trying to employ somebody that is going to interface with customer, for example, that person must have a very high emotional intelligence, right? So your job, so you should have, when you're trying to employ, you should be able to balance the job with the various characteristics that you're expecting from the employee. So this is what this particular slide is talking about. You should be able to match job to various behavioral characteristics. So going forward, organizations are shaped by values, right? In every organization, there are inherent values that define a given organization: teamwork, mutual support, diversity, trust, creativity in problem solving, internal and external customer support, honesty, safety consciousness, adhering to rules, adhering to standards. So those are some of the values you have in an organization. And as a facility manager, you should be able to develop your team around some of these values. It is very essential. So going forward, somebody's speaker is on. Okay, let's continue. So performance cycle, what do you mean by performance cycle? So like I said, when we are discussing appraisal, I say it is very important for us to appraise our team members because it helps us to know where we have gaps within our team. Like I said, it is very important for you to align your team competencies with your organizational goals. So performance measurement cycle help us to measure some of the performance in relation to what is expected of us. So basically, like most organizations, every year we set performance for each of our staff. The carpenter has a set of expectation. The plumber has a set of expectation. The electrician has a set of expectation. Now, it is very important. It's not just about setting expectation, right? You also need to train. So training does not really mean, oh, I have to send them to external training. Training can still be internally, right? Because when you are setting this expectation, most expectations are not set in silo. I'm not just because I'm a facility manager, I'll just sit down in my office and craft out some habitual expectation to my staff. No, it has to be a kind of discussion. While you are setting out your expectation, during that process, you probably will have find gaps where you probably, oh, I want you to do X, Y, Z. I know you are not being skillful. Okay, we'll find a way of training you. Then when you train, you have to assess performance. Then when you assess performance, when the performance is good, you reward. If it's not good, you correct. You can have a discussion then. After then, you set others. So basically, you are expected to set expectation on an ongoing basis in such a way that if you set an expectation on this level, I'm able to meet this level, you should be able to scale up the expectation. It doesn't make sense for you to set the same expectation. On the long run, it's going to lead to what we call redundancy. If I do the same thing year in, year, I will be bored on the long run. So basically, for you to keep your employee motivated, you review your expectation, you set new expectation, you train them in line with the new expectation, you assess their performance, you reward or you correct. So moving forward, like I said, it is very important to train your employee. And like I said, training does not necessarily mean we have to send them out for training. There's something we call on-the-job training, right? You can have somebody that knows something in your organization, teach other people that doesn't know it. I can have my electrician working and ask my plumber to go and shadow him to see exactly what he's doing. He asks questions, you show him, you can demonstrate, you can observe, you can observe what somebody is doing, can provide feedback, we check immediately, allow independence practice. So if I allow my plumber to be trained by the electrician can step and say, okay, oh yeah, you do X, Y, Z. Let me see what you will do. So that the person can do it. When they make mistake, you can correct. So these are process of actually training your employee, and it's part of the cross training that organizations should be involved once in a while. Guiding professional development, like we said, is very important to guide professional development of your team. And you can do this by establishing assessment centers, project and special assignments. Where people are given projects or special assignments, it gives them the flexibility to research, to learn, to expand their scope, to pick up new skills. So it's also a way for you to help them develop professionally. Peer coaching, where two people within an organization can do things together and share ideas. Advanced credentials is very important. One of the reasons why most of us are here today is because we want to advance our credential by going through this program, because at the end of the program, we have a diploma in facility management. Mentorship is very important in an organization to kind of create a kind of a mentorship program within an organization where senior colleagues can mentor junior colleagues to carry them along. Although it's a bit very tricky when it comes to mentorship, because it ought to be a win-win situation. You can't mandate somebody to mentor the other person. It's not possible, right? Trying to get somebody to mentor you has to be a very strategic move, right? Because A lot of people want mentor, but the kind of mentorship that a relationship they are looking for are more of a one-directional mentorship, where they just want to be collecting from the mentor, and they have no value to the mentor. So basically, a mentorship relationship is a bit tricky. So it's a situation where both the mentee and the mentor have to come together to agree on terms. Cross-training, like I said, cross-training is just more of one technician training the other technician. And when you have a very, very excellent cross-training program in your organization, it is very easy for you to implement what they call job rotation. Job rotation is also a way to expand your employee experience, and this actually always enhance their experience and improve their job satisfaction on the long run. So moving forward, career development. We have said this in initial, like I said, it is very important as a facility manager to plan the development of your team. It's not just, it's not nice, and it's morally wrong. If I had a cleaner that worked for me for 10 years and doesn't move from that point, it is morally wrong and it doesn't make sense, right? So it is very important as a facility manager for us to always look for developmental opportunity for our staffs, right? Your technicians should be able to be coached and encouraged to move to the next level of their career. They can move from a facility technician to a facility officer, from their supervisor to facility manager, up to a facility executive. Like I said, you should employ somebody that has a potential to replace you. So if I'm a facility manager, I should be eyeing a facility executive role. So if I'm actually eyeing that, I should be able to have somebody down the line that can replace me as a facility manager. So if I'm moving forward, other people should move along. So it's very important to have a career developmental plan for your team. Performance appraiser, like I said, performance appraiser is a way for us to assess what we are doing in an organization and to compare it to what we are expected to do. Basically, there are two approaches to performance appraiser. We have the informal approach and the formal approach. The informal approach is more of on an ongoing basis. When I assign a job to a technician and I'm supervising, right, I should be able to provide a continuous feedback. No, don't do it like that. No, don't let us fix it like that. No, that's not the right way to use the tool. No, this is how you should do it. Oh, that is good. Oh, well done. So you kind of provide a feedback on an ongoing basis so that you know that they are doing the right thing the right way. The formal appraisal process is more of a documented feedback over a set period of time. So organizations do it once in a year. They call it annual appraisal. Some do it on a quarterly basis. They call it quarterly appraisal. So different organizations with different methodology. So to say, why do we need to do performance appraisal? Basically, we need performance appraisal to keep employees motivated. If you appraise me, you give me feedback that I'm doing well, which means next quarter I want to do more, right? Change behavior more effectively, right? When you give people continuous feedback on how they are doing, they want to align their behavior to ensure that they're always getting a positive feedback from their appraiser. It gives clear sense of how job performance is viewed by managers and supervisors. Exactly. It helps you to see your job role from the eyes of the top management. It strengthens the organization. It identifies strongest and weakest employee. It provides data for vital organization tactics. Exactly. So moving forward, why do organizations perform poorly? As we said performance appraiser helps organizations to perform better. But why is it that despite all the benefits of performance appraiser, most or some organizations still perform poorly? Basically, we can categorize the factor into 4 places. Conflict and emotion. Most of the time, people let conflict and emotion get into what they are doing. get so emotional about their job, and because of that, they perform poorly as an individual and actually affect the entire team. Because if I'm so emotional, I'm probably going to fight my entire team. I probably will not see anything good in what anybody is saying. Connect with compensation. Most of the time, most organizations are afraid to connect appraisal performance with compensation because, interestingly, most employees expect that once you appraise me at the end of the year, you say I'm doing well, I should see some monetary compensation for that. And most of the time, once you don't see this, you don't see on the long run, they get demoralized and the performance drop. Lack of confidence in performance measure and how they are used. Yes, most of the time, over time, people lose confidence in the appraisal process. And what are they doing? Appraisal is every year they are doing it. What did they give us? They did not give us anything. Now they are just writing paper. So once people can't see the value in what you are doing, basically they will stop working towards that. And on the long run, the entire appraisal drops. Performer exercise is talking about when you have in an organization where your supervisor or your manager can't connect with what you are doing, right? Both of you can come to an agreeable point where you can say, oh, this is what we are doing, right? This is not what we are doing wrong. And most of the time, usually leads to poor performance on the long run. So most importantly, it's very important for us to pay attention to these four factors when we are actually planning performance appraisals in our organization. How do I carry out or how do I develop an effective appraisal system? Criteria to focus on: positive and constructive focus, right? Some people say, yeah, I'm a critic, I can criticize you. Yeah, hello, can you hear me? So people say, all right, thank you very much. So people say, oh, I'm a critic, I say things the way they are, I'll just say my mind, I'm blunt. Most of the time when you want to pass comments, let your comment be very constructive, right? Even the Bible says we should correct in love. When people are doing wrong, we should be able to correct in love. You should not be antagonistic when you want to correct people. Progress towards long-term goal. You should progress towards long-term goal. Like we were saying in the previous slide, when you are planning, plan for long-term, not short-term, right? So as we progress, we should be able to measure our improvements. Okay, this is how we did last time. Oh, there's XYZ improvement and stuff. Validate and specify key performance indicator, your KPI. It should be specific and valid, right? Effective appraisal system method, right? Training of evaluator. If people are to be used to evaluate others, they should be well trained in the evaluation system. They should know how to evaluate and the like. Then lastly, documentation. Is not just enough for you to appraise people without documenting the entire process, because most importantly, those documentation can be referred to in the future for analysis, decision making, and the like. So basically, when we are talking about performance appraisal method, basically we have about 5 of them, and different organizations use different of this method based on their needs. We have what we call 360-degree feedback. 360-degree feedback is used in organization where if I'm a manager now, I will be appraised by a fellow manager, I'll be appraised by my line manager, then I'll be appraised by my subordinates, in such a way that we can have a 360 view of how you perform in the organization. What are people around? What are your peers saying about you? What are your boss, your guys saying about you? What are your subordinates saying about you, right? It gives you a kind of a complete picture of who you are as a person. The category rating appraisal process basically talks about where we have different attributes or characteristics we are trying to appraise you on. Then on each one of them, we are giving a rating that, oh, I will score you A here, I'm going to score you B here. In my wife's organization, in their own appraisal system, they use this categorical rating. At the end of the appraisal, everybody gets a grade. If you have a A, that means you are excellent. If you have a B, that means you're very good and the last. And based on that, we determine how you perform over the years. We have what we call comparative performance appraisal method. Basically, what this is talking about is comparative means comparing. So basically, in this approach, people are being paired and they are being compared against each other, right? Where I can pick a John and a Paul, and I said, okay, let me see how does they compare to each other. What is Paul's strength? What is John's strength? And the likes and the like. Then we have behavioral and objective. Basically, what we are looking at, we are focusing on behaviors of individuals. How do they behave in the organization? How do they react to issues? How do they take feedback and the like? So this kind of appraisal methods is actually used to see how we handle tasks within the organization. Then lastly, we have what we call narrative performance appraisal method. Basically, it's more like I'm using a descriptive essay to judge you, right? I have a long write-up to describe your potential, your attributes, who you are as a person in an essay like, right? So it's not more like, oh, I'm thinking about, yes, it's good, no, it's bad. No, I'm writing an essay the way I feel about you. So basically, we have these 5 appraisal methods, and different organizations adopt either of these methods. Some can adopt a particular method, some can combine methods based on their various organization needs. So moving forward, conducting a performance appraisal meeting. So basically, we have three process or 3 phases when you are conducting an appraisal meeting. Firstly is preparation, right? You prepare your appraisal template, which you are going to distribute. You are going to train people on how to use it. You are going to give it to your subordinate. They are going to appraise themselves. Then when they appraise themselves, you are going to call for a meeting where you will discuss each of those appraisal items and you agree on, oh, okay, probably my staff give on punctuality, for example. One of my staff give himself, maybe I'm using categorical method and he's giving himself A. Then we come to a meeting and I say, no, Bobo, it's not A. The company resumed by 8 o'clock, but most of the time you come by 8:30 and you won't even start your job until 9 o'clock. So I don't even agree that this is A. So by my own assessment as your line manager, I believe this should be C. So we can go forth and back to argue on why he deserves a A, will probably come down to a B. So in that discussion, we agree and we disagree until we come to a conclusion. Then at the end of the discussion, every of the things we agree on should be documented and archived. So those are the 3 phases in a performance appraisal meeting. So going forward, we have said a lot about diversity within a team. Why do we need diversity in an FM team? Like I said, having a diverse team kind of creates a cohesion, a kind of a collaborative team. Like you said, a picture of different than fuel, okay, a picture of differences that fuel a dynamic and creative organization. Diverse skill, knowledge, talent, experience, perspective that works against competencies and focus on organization on continuous improvement. If you look at this picture very well, we have an FM team that is very diverse. Diversity comes in ethnicity, tenure, which is based on experience, age, learning style, gender, education, social style, and the like. When you have all these factors in your team, it creates a kind of a oneness in your team. It doesn't create a silo, right? I have a team of different age group, Everybody come with different experiences. I have different people with different skills. I have people from different parts of the country. Those people will come with different, the way a Igbo man will probably think about a problem will probably different from a way where a Yoruba people will think about the same problem. So that kind of give us a kind of a rich approach to solving problem. It actually enhance or enrich our problem solving approach. So it is very important for a facility manager to advocate for diversity in their teams. So what are the diversity process do we have? A well-managed diverse team should be trained, balanced, good communication, differences valued. So differences vary, saying that because we are different doesn't mean one person is better than the other. You can handle conflicts better, constructively, strong team identity, right? And this will lead to creativity, job satisfaction, high productivity, quality outcome, and innovation. So in doing that, we discover that we have an input into the process and we have an output. Then if your team is poorly managed, there will be a lot of conflict, poor communication, divisive behavior, isolation. People are going to create caucuses. Oh, we are the good team. Oh, they are the bad team. Oh, this is the association of the Igbo people. This is the association of the Yoruba or the Hausa people. And that will lead to high turnover. People will start leaving the organization. You have a low productivity, poor solutions because people are not innovative. They can't work together. Low job satisfaction, poor attitude towards diversity. So for you to ensure a good diversity process, you have to focus on managing your team diversity very, very well. So moving forward, strategy to manage diversity. So what do I need to do as a facility manager to manage the diversity within my team? Aligning policies and practice with diversity. Balance your team. Building balanced team. Build cohesion, right? People should work together. Supporting diversity through training, right? Recruiting for diversity. So that means when you are recruiting, you should have it at the back of your mind. You have diversity as at the back of it. It should be built into the recruitment process. So moving forward, building cohesion. How do I build cohesion? Cohesion is built through mutual trust. If I trust you, mutual trust is all about that. I can trust you with my career, with my life, right? I'm not looking at my back. If I want to do something, I'm not like, if I do this thing, maybe if it's spoil, they'll start pointing finger at me. There's a shared goal and common value. As a team, we have a common goal. Everybody knows the goal. We know where we are going as a team. There's a sense of accomplishment in your team, right? And there's a sense of pride. Pride not in the negative connotation. I'm saying pride in this, the sense of satisfaction with what we are doing, right? We are proud of who we are. We are proud of what we are doing. So centering your entire team around this will help you to build a very cohesive team with respect to managing your facility management team. Documentation suggestion. So how do you document your performance appraisal process? Be specific and use measurable language, date and time, substandard work performance, expectations are going forward, action to be taken if substandard work continues. Keep all documentation on file and copy to employee. So it's not just enough for you to appraise your employer. Let them understand what you have appraised them on. Let them know how well they are faring. So, and actually when you are providing a feedback, let them know where they are doing well and where they are not doing well so that they can actually improve their output. Consult an extra set of eyes. Companies and individual exit who can provide outside expertise and perspective. Consultant. So if you are hiring consultant which as part of your performance appraisal process, proven track record, reference check, documented contractual understanding, clear and measurable expectations, evaluate performance outcome, expect documentation and evaluation material as part of the process, give consultant clear feedback. So moving forward to align facility management practice. How do I align? No, we have been talking about alignment. Yeah, facility management must align with business strategy, must align with the demand, organizational need, and blah. So how do we align? What do we need to do to align? So so we should look at cultural factors that may shape processes, specific stakeholder needs. You should understand who your stakeholders are. Most of the time, we have internal stakeholder and external stakeholder. You should know their needs. It's when you know their need that you can align. You should understand compliance issues, organization resources. You should know what your organization has as an organization. Historical factor that may affect. You should understand historical factor that may affect occupant or employees' attitude. Why are my employees frowning their faces? Why is it that by 12 o'clock, everybody is not working? You should understand why. And understanding that why will help you to align your FM processes to align with the organizational need. Understand your organization strategic plan. Most of the time, your facility management strategy will be a subset of the organization strategy. So understanding it will help you to align the two. And it's very important to understand all of these factors. So moving forward, there's this thing we call, so we ask ourselves as facility manager, where do I come in supporting the demand organization, right? Supporting my organization, how do I support them? There's something we call Maslow triangle of needs, which is what, excuse me, this is what you are seeing on your screen. Basically, everybody starts from the base, and as you progress within an organization, you are going to move up the pyramid. We have the psychological need. Everybody wants to eat. Everybody wants money, right? For me to feel comfortable or motivated to work, right? My work should provide food for me. My work should provide shelter, right? The salary I'm collecting should be able to cater for my need before I even talk of any other thing. So basically, as a facility manager, most of the time, the understanding this physiological need of our facility user will help us in a long way to provide for such organization and to enhance the occupant comfort within the same organization, right? So it is very important as a facility manager to look at the physiological need and ask ourselves, what do I need to do for me to meet this? For me to meet the physiological need of my occupant. And second to that, we have safety, right? Everybody wants to be safe. Everybody wants to feel safe. As a facility manager, we should also focus on safety of our environment, of our employees, of our users. What do we need to do? What do we need to put in place to ensure that they are safe? And when you look at this very well, you discover that these 2 points goes a long way for a facility manager in meeting the organization expectation. We discover the social belonging, esteem, self-actualization are factors that as a facility professional, I have nothing to do about this. In fact, I have no control over this factor. There's nothing I can do. Social belonging, I don't control that. Esteem, there's nothing I can do about esteem. Individuals have to control their esteem. Self-actualization, as the name implies, is self, something that is individual. But psychological needs and safety are key factor a facility manager to focus on, because those are 2 points where you can easily have a stronger impact on your facility needs. So moving forward, for those of us who will probably be interested in pushing forward on our facility management certification, for those who probably has been reading about IFMAN and some of the certification, and these are some of the key things you are going to learn, or some of the key things you are going to test when you are sitting for your facility management professional certification or your CFM, which is Certified Facility Manager. So for those people who are looking to push forward their facility management certification. So making facility management change. As a facility manager, we are one of the change management agents in an organization because we actually help to manage the change process. So what do I need to do, or what should I avoid when there are facility management change, or when we are making facility management changes? One, face conflict head on. As a facility manager, you are there to solve problems. If there's no problem, I usually tell my colleague back then, anytime they are having issues and they are saying, sorry for disturbing you, I say, see, I've been employed to provide solution. If people do not have problem, they are not having problem, I will not be here. So as a facility management professional, you should embrace conflict. Don't avoid conflict. Provide as much information upfront as possible. One of the key things that help us as a facility management professional is communication. Excuse me. We should be able to communicate as much information to our occupants in respect to various plans, initiatives that we are going to take that are going to impact them in the organization. We should focus on reason for the change and benefit. We should be able to discuss, for example, the organization says, oh, we are moving from property A to property B. You should be able to discuss with your occupants, reason why you are making that move, what is the benefit of that? Oh, we are moving because this place is very small. We are moving to a bigger space so that a lot of people have enough space and blah, 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 like that. You should be able to give reason. Let people see the value in the change. Listen and provide support. You should listen to your occupant, negotiate solution, engage occupants, use post-occupant evaluation. When you do a move or a change, at the end of your change process, you'll be able to do a survey to get feedback from your occupant on how well you have done. You'll be able to debrief your occupant. Things to avoid is avoid occupant reaction. Lying is very wrong. I've experienced in facility management in some organization, they encourage their employee to lie to their client, right? You overpromise, we are probably during the contract process, you promise heaven and earth to your client. Then at the end of the day, you cannot deliver. Then you have to start encouraging your employee to start lying to your whatever. It's a big no-no, right? As a professional, it doesn't tell well on your professional ethics. Ask open-ended questions. Please do not ask open-ended questions. It is not good, right? When you want to ask questions from a prospective occupant or facility user, you should be able to ask your question within an option. It doesn't make sense for me to ask somebody, hello, probably a visitor to my house and say, what do you want to ask? What do you want to eat? That is one of the ridiculous questions I ate in my entire life. Because I asked myself, when you ask me what do I want to, if I tell you I want to eat a cow egg, can you provide it? So it is very important when you want to ask questions, you can ask questions like, do you care for rice? Or will you care for swallow or stuff? So in that your question, you are giving your opportunity to your correspondent to pick from the available options. So it is very important to ask a close-ended question instead of an open-ended question, because an open-ended question is tricky and can put you at a very terrible corner while managing changes. Moving forward, indoor environmental quality. What do we mean by indoor environmental quality? Here we are talking about the quality of our indoor environment. For example, an office, what is the temperature? What is the lighting condition? What is the noise? What is the quality of the air within the organization, within the space? How clean is the space? So as a facility manager, these are 5 factors we should consider when dealing with indoor environmental quality. We should ensure that the temperature and the relative humidity within the space is within the acceptable limit, your indoor air quality is within the acceptable limit, lighting is adequate, noise is within the acceptable limit, and your cleanliness is within the acceptable level. Moving forward, so what are the factors that affect indoor air quality? Like I said, there are various factors that affect your indoor air quality. Facility equipment and processes. In some offices, we spray a lot of chemical in a way to manage the internal spaces, and some of these chemicals can be harmful to the space occupant. That invariably actually affects the indoor air quality. The kind of furnishing we use in an environment affect your indoor air quality. The occupant themselves, because a space is being occupied for an activity. The kind of activities in a space that an occupant is undergoing might probably lead to sweating, and because of those sweating, it leads to different kind of interesting odor. Those odors kind of have an adverse effect on your air quality. Lastly, external environment. Your external environment has a way of influencing your internal environment. So if you have bad air outside, they'll find a way of getting inside, and it's going to affect your indoor air quality. So as a facility manager, you need to pay attention to those factors. Like I said, lighting needs to be at the appropriate level for a task and the surrounding, source to avoid glare or excessive bright light, incorporate natural light as much as possible. Here we are trying to explain different noise level, as you can see. For different location and activity, there are different noise acceptable level. And for office spaces, it's always advisable your noise level should be less than 60 decibel. It is very important. Anything higher than that is not acceptable. According to APPA, that's the Association of Physical Plant, I think American Association of Physical Plant stuff. There are about 5 levels of cleanliness that you can ascribe to your space. We have level 1, which is orderliness and spotless. So if I'm using, so it is not enough for you to have cleaners, oh, go and clean the space. You should be able to explain to them the level of cleanliness you are expecting. And this kind of explain the 5 levels of cleanliness you should expect as a facility manager. So you should be able to tell your cleaners at what level you are expecting a space to be clean. Stress is also an interesting factor we need to manage, because stress is an individual psychological response to work conditions that can harm physical health and occupant productivity. So as a facility manager, you need to pay attention to stress. And from this slide, you can see that there are 5 factors that affect or cause stress. New technology, when people are introduced to new technology, it can lead to stress. Economical changes, like now in Nigeria, we are battling a lot of issues. This is high, transportation is going up, there's no light, petrol is whatever. All these economical factors all usually add to our stress level. Changes, all kinds of changes also add to our stress level. Poor alignment of work expectation can add to stress level, because if we don't know how our job contributes to overall whatever, we'll be bothered and we'll be stressed. Work environment marked by low employee trust and empowerment can lead to stress. If I'm working in an environment that is toxic, it will affect my mental well-being, which is going to stress me out. So it is very important as facility manager to pay attention to all these factors, because it actually interplays in how we actually help to support the entire organization. So moving forward, for those who have done something on industrial engineering or something related, they have probably come across what we call ergonomy. Ergonomy is talking about the study of equipment design in order to reduce operator equipment fatigue or discomfort. For example, most of all use systems, we have work decks and the likes. So ergonomy is talking about how comfortable we feel when using when working on our workstation. So as a facility management professional, we should work in hand with the HR personnel in ensuring that the workspace we provide for the employees are economically okay and comfortable for their use. They have the right, they have desktop or laptop that is well placed, seats are well placed, people can sit down comfortably, rest their back. They don't have back pain, neck pain while working and the like, because sometimes some activities allow you to work for longer period, and doing that leads to a lot of discomfort. So your workstation should be designed in such a way that it offers you comfort due to the kind of tasks you are carrying out. What are the facility strategies we can employ to ensure that we have a work efficiency in workplace? We can decrease footprint. Footprint is talking about we should kind of decrease the distance people need to walk from one place to another, right? Shorten the traveling time. We should decrease churn rate. Churn rate is talking about the frequency at which people move from one point to another. Churn rate can be rate at which people move from a particular location to another. We should choose the appropriate furniture, because this one goes a long way in affecting ergonomy. So moving forward, still talking about facility strategy, design for workplace effectiveness. We have several ways or several strategies we can deploy, accommodating different purposes, facilitating collaboration, satisfying occupant aesthetics needs. So what we are trying to talk in these 3 points is you should design your workspace in such a way that it can work for different purposes, right? I want to work as an individual. If you have a workspace that allows me to work as an individual, if we want to work as a team, we should have a workspace that supports teamwork and networking and the like. So we should have a workplace that is flexible enough to accommodate different working style. We should create a kind of a conducive environment that encourages flexibility and collaboration. It is very essential for people to work collaboratively. Then lastly, we should create a working environment that is aesthetically pleasing. That is to say, people should have something that can feed their eyes. I can't just be in an environment that is just plain. Everything is just plain. There's nothing that I can just distract me for some minutes just to take my eye to relax. I don't have some fancy, nice pictures I can look at. So it is very important to have a clean environment, well-maintained interior. Your interior design should be interesting. Views, lighting, and arcs should be well placed in such a way that it makes the environment interesting. Nobody wants to work in a boring environment. So as a facility manager, these are some of the strategies you should pay your attention to when designing a workplace for effectiveness. So moving forward, it is very important. It is very important. Okay, leave it. So for a facility manager, it's not just enough for you to provide strategy for your on-site location. Facility manager should be able to separate facility processes from the building, right? The building is not facility management. It's essentially anywhere work is being done, right? You should be able to provide facility-related services. If work is being done at home, that's where work is. It should be. So as a facility manager, you should be able to provide on-site services, common area activity, occasional or short-time use of individual workspace, share workstation, satellite office, alternate workspace for business continuity. And if for some organization that works at home, you might be tasked to go to their various houses to help them set out a workable workstation that suits their work activity so that they can contribute productively to the overall organization processes. So I think we have come to the end of the lectures. So I will give time for us to ask questions so question, contribution, comment, addition, subtraction. The floor is open.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, my name is Atilade Ajao.
You're welcome, sir.
So I want to talk about the performance appraisal, sir.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So from the organization that I work for,
Okay.
from our point of view,
Okay.
we don't see things as performance appraisal. We look at it from the point of performance management.
Okay.
Because we see performance appraisal as one of something that affects the psyche of employees within an organization.
Okay.
It is something that is seen as a period that people look forward to dealing with subordinates, trying to take out aggression.
Data.
Exactly, in quote. So from my organization point of view, it is seen as performance management. This is the approach. The approach is a situation whereby the manager is seen as a coach.
Okay.
And performance management is a progressive one.
Okay.
It is not specified to a particular period of time.
Okay.
You know, as facility managers, we do a lot of working by observation.
Yes.
To see what is happening. So in the process of not sitting down, moving about, trying to make sure things work, at the same time, we are observing and seeing what our subordinates are not doing right.
Exactly.
So it is at that point that you grasp, you identify, you correct, and you encourage your subordinate or your colleague.
Okay.
So it does not breed room for a situation whereby there is something that will come up whereby the subordinate will feel you don't like him. It is an on-the-spot assessment. So at the end of the day, there is even more room for correction. So it does not talk about a paper-based approach of appraisal.
Okay.
I'll tell you this, if you look at the difference between performance appraisal and performance management, you realize that the employee engagement is more sustainable over time with the management than the appraisal. Because the appraisal looks at ticking the box, having a scorecard, having a score sheet. But with the management, the work is continuum and everybody can see that there's a feedback which you don't really have in the appraisal. It is until after the 6 month or the 1 year cycle that you get to be appraising yourself by ticking what have not happened. But with the management, it is a whole lot better way of appraising ourselves and appraising employees within an organization. You know, it has been used and it has been observed to be very, very good within our own sphere. There's something we observed about that 360-degree
appraisal method.
Appraisal, sir. It can be used to, it could be vindictive also. I'll tell you this, sir. There's a place I worked almost 10 years. I would not make mention of the organization. The man I was reporting to, who happens to be like the GM over there, the man is always waiting for everyone during the appraisal period. When there are tasks that we perform and people don't do well, instead of correcting or making them see that, okay, this thing does not align with the goal of the organization, you know, it takes it personal. And if you've done anything that he feels you've not, you know, massaged his ego very well, he waits for you at the appraisal, you know, and it's not a good way. Because of his behavior, I have learned to be a better person and a more engaging person. That's the reason why me and my junior colleague were on the same training together at the same time, at this period. You understand? Yeah. You know, thank you very much for the time and opportunity to share.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Aremo. And like you said, what you said is very, very good and very powerful. And if you go through the slide, we make mention that there are informal way, and there's formal appraiser. Like you said, what you have described is the informal appraiser, which is also within the appraiser management system, like I said earlier on. But the truth is, you have to use both of them. You can't use one and leave one. Like you said, as a facility manager, when I'm going around, I'm observing my team and I'm doing on the spot correction. You are not documenting that. And because you are not documenting that, what if you are not there tomorrow and somebody else is coming? He doesn't know what you guys have done in the past. He doesn't have a clue what has happened in the team. How do you make recommendation to top management for training? If
Okay, sorry,
no basis?
Sorry, sir. There's something I didn't make mention. There is a goal setting. There's a goal setting by both parties.
Yes.
That is agreed upon.
Yeah, that's part of the performance management system.
Yes.
You set up an expectation at the beginning of the appraisal cycle. Both of you agreed on it, right? And because you have agreed on that, that's what you are measuring as you go.
Exactly.
So as you are measuring them, you are either giving a continuous feedback using the informal way, which you do on a continuous basis. You don't wait for a specific time. But at the end of a cycle, you have to document everything that has been achieved. What has not been achieved, you have to document reason why it has not been achieved. Because, in my past organization, right, at the end of the appraisal system, all the appraisal file goes to the MD, and he will go through them one by one to know exactly what, because your expectation you have set, the goal you have set by individual has to align, has to tie with the overall organizational setting. Are you getting my point now? So if at the end of the day, I am writing a business case to justify that I need 10 of my employees to go for XYZ training, right? I can refer back to my appraisal documentation and said, this is the expectation we set. Although we are able to achieve XYZ, we discovered that so number of skills is missing in the team, and because of that, we would like to approve on so number of training. So both of them work hand in hand, but the fact is that inside good, you can't excuse evil inside good, right? As much as you are trying to use the appraisal system to advance the company and whatever, some still kind of use it to their own devilish way. I have seen cases like that, if I don't have my way, I will deal with you. I have seen cases where you fill an appraisal system. I remember in my last employment, I have a driver, and the driver is reporting to the admin manager, who is the person that will fill the appraisal system, right? And because they have a vendetta against the driver for one reason or the other, there's a particular part that they have to rate the driver very low, right? And once they are rating the driver, I am the only one that should be able to provide a feedback because the driver is driving me. So I will be the one to know the behavior of the driver on the road. But you refuse to allow me to appraise because you want to express your vendetta. Then you went to write nonsense. I was just smiling. But the truth is still simple, right? If an organization uses the right appraisal system, it is very easy for you to see, right? Because the appraiser is not just roughing off on your employee. Me as a line manager is rough. If my team does not perform, there's nothing good in whatever I'm doing, because the expectation I'm giving any of my staff is a subset of my own expectation to the management. So if they don't meet their expectation, invariably I won't meet my own expectation. So it kind of creates a teamwork. But anyway, it depends on different organizations. And like I said, every organization should pick a method that works best for them, right? On the long run. Thank you very much. Any other question? Question, contribution, addition, subtraction. All right, so we'll call it a day for today. Then we'll meet back here on Friday. Thank you very much for the time. Okay, somebody is raising his hand.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Olufemi, right?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. sorry, I want to just go back to that key performance index matter. I mean,
Okay.
key performance, sorry, appraisal kind of.
Okay.
How about, see, I used to ask questions, funny questions. How about if you have a director that doesn't see that as a criteria? It's something that was actually introduced. I even did a bit of breakdown for him to make him see what it looks like. But I ended up doing like the needful. When I mean doing the appraisal, as in implementing it, like I ended up using my own fund to foot for that. He doesn't see it as anything. He has this belief that he has employed you and you are capable and you should be able to do it. Okay, introducing it to him in a better way. How do I do that? I've discussed it severally. I don't know if I'm sure it's not the way I'm presenting it. I'm sure I've said it to convince you because it does appraisal for me myself. Let me be frank.
Okay.
But as for the facility guys, the artisans, there's a bit difference.
So basically, you're saying that your manager does not see the benefit of appraising the technicians, right? If I'm
The
correct.
director, yeah, yes, sir.
Director. So the point is simple. You are giving an expectation. The director gave you an expectation as the facility manager for that organization, right?
That guys should deliver, yes.
That you should deliver, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Then, based on your own expectation, you further divide your own expectation and distribute it to each of your technicians. Are you getting my point now, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, their deliverable will roll into yours, and your own will roll what the management is actually checking, right? So if you are able to break down your own performance expectation in such a way that you can distribute it to the technician, and at the end of the day, you can measure their contribution, right? There are data that you can show to him and say, Oga, based on the performance, whatever I've done for these people, they have done X, Y, Z, which actually you can draw a. So what performance is talking about is, can you draw a parallel between what the expectation you have drawn, right, and what the organization is expecting you to deliver? So if I can show how important the contribution of the plumber is to the organization, the overall organizational need, Oga will see the need why he needs to evaluate the plumber on the long run. Are you getting my point? The reason why most organizations do not want to, some organizations do not want to pay attention to appraiser is because they feel like, oh, if I do appraiser now, these guys will be expecting me to increase their salary and the life. So that's where the problem is, right? Because they feel like, if I appraise him today now, my expect I increase salary. So that's one of the factors. And if you look at where we are discussing about the 4 factors that affect performance appraisal, some of these things. So it's just about them understanding the value of doing this thing, right? Gaps analysis, succession planning, and the likes and the likes. So it's not something you can achieve in a day, right? It's something that you have to achieve on a continuous basis. Let them see
continuous and detailed.
Yeah, so let them see reason, collect data to support your position. So it's something that you have to take your time. But on the long run, you have to be consistent on the long run. Yeah, thank you.
All right. God bless you. Thank you.
Any other question? All right, so we can call it a day. We have spent almost 15 minutes.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a wonderful class.
All right. Good night, everybody. See you again on Friday.
Good night, sir.
All right.